Welcome to Moving Conversations, a podcast for movement professionals by movement professionals. If you coach, train, or teach movement, Pilates, or fitness, then this podcast is for you. With more than 60 years of experience in fitness and Pilates, your hosts, Brian Ritchie and Nora St. John, explore the science of human movement, diving deep into the facts, myths, and common misconceptions, hoping to spark thought and conversation about how we view fitness and movement. Now, let's jump into Moving Conversations. And welcome back to Moving Conversations. I'm Brian Ritchie. Joining me as always is Nora St. John, and you can probably tell we have a special guest today.
We do. And her name is Chrissy Romani-Ruby, and she is a physical therapist, athletic trainer, longtime fitness enthusiast, who I have worked with many times at Pilates on tour and other ways. And we brought her on to talk about keeping the spine safe during daily activities, and also just because her perspective is somewhat unique, I find, in the physical therapy world, and that she's got this very strong Pilates background, very strong physical therapy background. She has an educational program, PHI Pilates, and we just wanted to bring her on and see what she has to say. So welcome, Chrissy.
Welcome. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. Cool. So starting out with, tell us a little bit about yourself. So where are you from? What's your practice? What are you doing these days?
So I'm in Pittsburgh, PA in South Hills, and we have a practice there. It's a 9,000 square foot facility. It's probably the biggest Pilates studio anywhere.
I think so.
We do some physical therapy there, but it's more a small portion of what we do, where we bring people into the program. And the goal was really to just get people to bridge from physical therapy into exercise. And then we do mostly Pilates. There's a few fitness things that we do, like TRX and bounce and things like that, but mostly it's all around Pilates-based activity. And we try to get people more active in their own way. So we have all different levels. And that was my goal, is if you have a total joint, you have a back problem, you can still be active. So we have 16 different teachers there, 4 physical therapists. So we kind of bridge them in through the physical therapy, and then they go into classes. We have some specialty classes just for backs, osteoporosis. And that's kind of what we're working on right now, is just building that practice. And it's been really busy.
Awesome.
It's just good. Yeah, very, very busy.
This is kind of the future. This is the idealized future, right, of physical medicine, is that if there's PT, if there's an injury, that somebody can have that managed through physical therapy, but then go on and really reestablish their movement patterns with Pilates or with some other movement-based modality. That's right. Just the ideal.
And it's a great way because, someone who's never exercised before, it's not intimidating. And we know that about Pilates,
exactly.
too.
It doesn't scare people.
That we can adapt to that. And they really understand that if they're coming from that environment, their physical therapist said come, or their doctor said come, and they come in and there's other people that have issues. We have a class we call the joint pain class, where you can start there with other people who have issues, and they generally graduate from that class and they get in the regular classes. And I just love seeing their confidence build. Now they're skiing and they're doing all these other things that they never did in their lives, but now they're 65 and they're just starting those things.
Love it.
And it's really fun to just watch people build their confidence that, hey, I can move.
Yeah.
And I like it.
Yeah. and that's exactly what it provides, right?
Yeah.
And then the environment and the way that you guys teach, I know, because I know a good bit about how you teach, like that's the idea. Brian and I talk about this a lot, is how do you start from wherever they are and move them as far as they can possibly go.
And one of the things I think I've really learned about working with adults, especially adults that maybe have never exercised before, they need to know why. Mm-hmm. So you can't, if you're working with a child who's doing a sport or something like that, you can just say, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And you tell them you're going to do 100 of these a day, you're going to do whatever of this a day. This is what required. Okay. But if you tell an adult that, they're not going to do that.
They're going to go like, why?
Why?
Yeah.
Or if you don't give them a good reason. So always when I tell them you need to do this, I want to base it on something that says, oh, you need to do this, because if you don't, here's where we go.
Right.
This is going to help you prevent this. It's going to help you with this. And show them how, and now they really want to do it, and it just kind of goes. I don't have to encourage. They come in and they report, I did that, and
awesome.
I'm seeing a difference.
Awesome.
And so when we're working with these older clients or clients that have back problems, it's important that I tell them why we do the things we do, and try to change the way they do their exercise program and the way they do their life, so they can still do the things they like to do.
So that gets us a little bit into our topic, right?
Yes.
Which is, how do you keep the spine safe during daily activities?
Yeah, so it's a really big deal. I mean, back pain is so common, right? 90% of the population is going to have back pain at some point in their lives. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a condition that they have to have surgery for.
Right.
It's just
Mostly
back
it's
pain.
not.
But mostly we hope that they don't.
Yeah.
I always say, please make that your last resort. Like if they have weakness in their leg or something, and it has to
Right.
happen,
Absolutely.
you just do it.
Yeah.
But if it's just a pain thing and it's not into the legs bad, if you can take the time to try to retrain your movement patterns to get out of pain, it may take time, but once you change your anatomy, we have trouble.
Yes.
Now I don't know what to do with you.
Right.
Because even as a physical therapist doing we studied mostly the McKenzie method. And now that the anatomy's changed, it's really hard for me to apply the McKenzie method to the person's body because there's a cage in there, or there's,
right.
They're different.
Yes, no, everything is different.
So I really try to encourage them to wait if they can. But we need to change how they do their daily activities so that first, we don't get hurt. We keep that spine healthy. And second, we learn, oh, my back just doesn't do that. And that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. What are my actual limits?
Yeah.
This is an actual limit. This is how much extension I have.
This is what I do. I'm not going to force that. And it can help them with sport if they're a golfer, or, they like to ski, or any kind of sport that they're doing. If they understand where the movement happens in the spine, we see improvement. So for example, there's a research study, and I wish I could remember the researcher's name, but there was a research study they did with a small group of amateur golfers. And they took a group of amateur golfers and looked at their swings for biomechanics, just to see what's the quality of your swing. Of course, it wasn't about the scores. It was more about what's the quality of your swing. So they looked at the quality of the swing, and then they took the group of golfers, just took them in a room and did a lecture about where rotation happens in the spine.
Oh.
So, if you really study the biomechanics of the spine, the lumbar spine can rotate. It can rotate 30 degrees, but you shouldn't rotate it.
Right.
It's not meant to rotate. It's not, the bones aren't shaped that way.
Yeah.
And if you do, it's like herniate me every time you rotate, right? So what they told them is rotate from your chest, where rotation is supposed to happen, high in the thoracic spine. And they just educated. They didn't do any movement at all, took them back out, measured their swings again, and their biomechanical format of their swing was better, was significantly improved, which is huge in an hour lecture, right? Because most people imagine rotation happening at their waist.
Yeah.
That's where I twist, at my waist.
Damage,
And rotation doesn't really happen there.
Right.
It happens at your hip joint, and it happens high in your thoracic spine. And if you're limited there, now you're going to put it here, and then you're going to hurt yourself.
It also comes down to motivation. You're talking about golfers who, you tell a golfer, this is going to get you 10 extra yards. This is going to cut two marks off your game or whatever. You're going to see them really apply.
Oh, yeah, there you go, right?
Really apply. And that sometimes is a great motivating factor. And I use that with a lot of my golfers. It's just, here, we're going to do this. Why? It's going to help your golf game. And I explain it because, as you said, what I find interesting is the similarity between us is we're not just instructors in the sense that we're instructing our client in front of us, but we're educators.
Yes, we have time to do that with them.
We want to educate them. I want them to know their body. I wish that they taught more anatomy and physiology in high school when it was mandatory rather than elective in some of the sciences. Yeah. Because then they'd actually understand a little bit more about what's going on in this, which we carry around with us every day. So, I mean, it's important for that. So they will have motivation. And even like you said, I have a lot of clients who rush to surgery because they're just dying to get out of pain. I got to get out of it as soon as possible. And when you explain to them, this might be a 6-month process, but you don't have to have surgery. So you're not going to effectively change your structure for life. But we can keep your original structure. We can get you hopefully out of pain, get you better movement quality, and teach you how to do this, but it's going to take time. It's hard to convince people of that sometimes because they just want to be out of pain today.
Yeah, well, a lot of times you have to explain to them that it's going to be 6 months anyway.
You
have that surgery.
If you have surgery,
you're going to have a month of downtime.
Right.
It's going to be longer.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
if you take that 6 months and you get yourself strong, if then you have to have the surgery.
Absolutely.
So
okay. Then you're still much better off.
We actually, we have a big group of PHI Pilates masters that teach in Japan.
Yeah.
So PHI Pilates is very popular there, and they just call it PHI Pilates. They think it's all Pilates.
Right.
It's like there's many brands of Pilates.
Right.
I try to tell them, but we have a famous surgeon there that does back surgery. He's very famous in Japan, and everyone lines up to have surgery with him. But it takes like a year to get an appointment with him. So recently, I work with a lot of the masters. She got a client that he scheduled for the surgery. Well, the surgeon actually told the gentleman that's going to have the surgery, while you're waiting for surgery, go find PHI Pilates. Like, go find a teacher and start Pilates. Because what he told the person is like, first, you might end up not needing surgery.
Right, which is good for everybody.
And second, it gets them off the schedule.
Yeah.
You guys are so busy, right? And second, it's going to help you. If you do have to have the surgery, you're going to heal better. So, the thought is, it's not wasted time.
No.
It's time testing to see if you need that procedure. Now, there are times when there's a drop foot, or you have damage happening to your nerve. That pressure has to be released. Exactly. So there are certain situations where your doctor will say, if you don't do this, you're really going to hurt yourself. Yeah. But we hope you don't get there, because we're going to help you move better. Right. Yeah. And I think, like we said, that client really understanding how their body should move, learning that, and being able to visualize it in their mind. We have this opportunity while we're training them to teach them that. Yes. So many people, they do something like a seated twist, and they really think that they're supposed to rotate tonight. Like they actually think this around. Chest will go to that side wall to 90 degrees, and they're going to force and cheat and destroy to get there.
With that image in their mind.
And I'm like, you know what? A professional golfer has 35 degrees of thoracic rotation, right? When they're young.
Yeah, exactly. When they're mobile.
And their eyes like cross as they're looking at me like, really? I don't turn my chest off. I'm like, no. And they're like doing yoga, and they're trying to get that whole twist to get it. And they want their half moon to be lined up to a wall. It's like, you don't have that much hip rotation. Some people might,
right?
But that's your professional ballerina.
That's a rare one. Yeah.
And that's the difference. How often do you have to tell someone, look, you don't have the genetics. You were not created to do this. You could enjoy golf. You could enjoy tennis. You could enjoy something. You're not Roger Federer.
Yeah.
You're not going to have the same amount of power, extension, rotation, all of that he has. Whereas, you have what you have. Let's maximize your benefit.
What you have. Exactly.
And get you as good as possible, rather than trying to compare you to someone who is a genetic freak.
Basically,
in the best way possible.
They do, exactly. Yeah, so I think, just that little bit of education and understanding where motion happens. One of the big things that I spend time with golfers, I know we've been on the golfer thing, but even baseball players, anyone with a rotational sport, is they're so obsessed with having more rotation that they go into their gym or their environment where they're working out and they work on rotation.
Right.
And I have to pull them back. It's like, guys, when you rotate, one side of your thoracic spine extends, one side flexes. If you don't have sagittal plane motion of flexion and extension, don't even try the rotation yet.
Yeah.
You're beating on something and you're just causing damage. So I step them back and say, you know what? Until you get enough thoracic extension for me, we're not rotating. We're only extending.
Yeah.
Generally, people have plenty of flexion.
Yeah.
So the thoracic spine will extend, I think it's 35 degrees. Or no, you're flex 35 degrees, 20 to 30 for extension. So
maybe.
Exactly. Depending on age. Right? So the thoracic spine begins to get stiff.
Oh, yeah.
At age 16.
Really?
So imagine.
I know that.
This is why I'm here.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm old. Right? So as you get older, that thoracic spine needs more extension in order for you to maintain it. And if you have something like scoliosis or, a genetic kyphosis or maybe osteoporosis, those kinds of things are going to limit you further. And we've got women golfers, male golfers with osteoporosis, and they're beginning to get that. And 1 in 2 women over age 65 have osteoporosis, 1 in 4 men. So they're golfing.
Chances are good. Some of them out there are golfing.
So we need to look at the sagittal plane motion first and not force the rotation. And that's something that even when I'm teaching the personal trainers at the university, or I'm teaching the Pilates instructors in our educational program, is like, back up. I know you want them to get rotation. They want rotation, but you have to teach them that there's mechanics to rotation. And if they don't have those bony mechanics, twisting is just going to be painful and hurtful.
Yeah.
Well, if they don't have the proper amount of stability in their lumbar spine, they're just going to continue to wrench
We'll do it down there. Exactly.
So, and that's what they're taught. I mean, you spent a lot of time in the gym when you were in college and high school and everything. Things like the Russian twist.
Oh my.
And all of these exercises that we were taught for rotation and these machines that lock you in and force you to twist. And you hear people saying, twist at your waist, twist at your waist. Like you said, you're just asking for a hernia. You're asking for a herniated disc.
Yeah.
But that's in their mind is where they need to rotate from. And sometimes even just gentle reminder, as you said, of turning more through your shoulders.
And rotating up.
Rotate up, unscrew from the
turn the lid off the mayonnaise jar.
Exactly.
I use the image of a barber pole. The red and white lines that go up. I mean, when you rotate, it's up. And if you tell a client that doesn't know this, you can kind of see they're like, oh,
that feels so much easier.
There's some new motion.
Yeah.
Wow. Why didn't I know that before?
Yeah.
You know, so I think that the visual cue, the understanding of actually how the biomechanics work, like other little things like, well, I know it doesn't work for golf, but if I look to the right, all my muscles that turn me right are turning on. So if you're going to turn right, look
right. Exactly.
Don't try to turn and look over here.
No.
You know? Now the golf thing, I don't know if I understand why they look down while they're swinging the ball. I'm not a golfer. I've tried.
No.
Probably because I do try to look.
Right.
So I'm not sure why of that, but you know, the idea that when you are working out and you're working on your rotation, gaze where you're going.
And that question comes up a lot. It happened in my class yesterday. We're here in Pilates on tour here in Phoenix. And in my class, I was teaching a couple of exercises which involved some rotation. And a number of people said, where are their heads? Where should they be looking the whole time? And my philosophy is use all of it.
Yeah.
So allow the gaze to go with it because it allows more rotation. Allow the gaze to stay straight and see how that feels. What feels more natural. And as soon as they tried to play with it, they said, oh, okay. And I don't like to force clients into doing something. See what feels natural to them first. And then guide them into better movement quality with, if I need to move my head, great. If I turn, fantastic. Because if you just keep your arms forward and move here with your head forward, you're only going to turn so far. But as soon as I turn, everything allows a little more
neurological
rotation.
Component.
Absolutely.
Right? You're naturally, it's like a PNF path.
Exactly.
Right?
Your eyes
it's a
take you
diagonal
through
and your eyes lead you. And, you know, we see that in the Feldenkrais method.
Absolutely.
You know, you can do so much just with your eyes.
Yep.
So I think if we start to bring in some of these other ideas and assist them with that rotation, you know, just letting them know where rotation happens, right down to where it comes from your hips too, right? And this area, your belly button's just like it's coming along like a flashlight. It's not going ahead of anything else.
It's being pulled by the rest
by the other stuff, you know, and then therefore that lumbar spine doesn't get that rotation. And I spend a lot of time on that. And other times when I'm talking about, you know, preserving the spine and taking care of the spine, I talk to them about how in daily life, 90% of what we do is flexion. And as we get older, we do less of laying on our stomach. We don't bend backwards.
We don't look up.
Those that are healthy enough to do extension should be incorporated. You're sitting at a desk all day, like you said. You should be looking up. And when you look up, you should be able to get your face parallel to the ceiling. And if you can't, you've been looking at your phone too. You know, one of the things I really push with my clients is, you know, when you're holding your cell phone, I'll go out in the waiting room and they're like,
exactly.
They're on the plane on the
hold
way.
it up.
Like
Get
this,
your arms
right?
strong enough to
So
hold it
I
up.
tell them, put one hand here, put your elbow in your hand, hold your phone, and read your phone.
Exactly. And then switch arms.
Exactly. And try to take with that left hand.
Right, exactly.
But I mean, just get that phone up where,
you
know, in your computer, whatever you're looking at. I even bought like a little desk for near my couch because I like to go and sit on the couch a little bit. And I got my laptop down here.
Exactly.
And it's changed things for me. So
I have a
just
little lap desk
setting
too, so
your
I'm here.
environment up to not be flexed all the time and to interrupt flexion activities with extension activities. You know, you're gardening, you're bent over, stand up, bend back a couple times, and then go back to it. It's a very much a Mackenzie method kind of thing, but it's practical.
Yes.
And if you can convince them of it, it's really a useful technique for them to keep themselves healthy while doing daily activities.
So we've talked about the idea of educating, right? You've talked about the idea of educating about rotation specifically, right? Especially for our rotational sports athletes. Now we're starting to talk about just having ordinary activities like things we do in flexion, like sitting, like gardening, like lifting things up. Let's talk a little bit more just about that, how people can keep themselves safe, lifting something up off the ground, doing their gardening, picking up their grandkids or their kids. So let's talk a little bit about that piece too.
So one of the things that I really encourage people, most of them know the whole idea of lift with your legs.
Right. Well, at least they know the idea of it.
Yeah, they know the idea, but unfortunately they don't quite get it. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure in my mind. I worked at the Forbes Back Institute, and we used to push this. When I first came out of PT school, that was my first job. And so I was backs, and right out of school, that was like shocking. But it was so much about how to lift. And at that year, it was in the 90s, that's what it was, lift with your legs. That was a thing. And I think we've stayed with that, but I'm not sure in my mind that that's the best way to teach everyone. Like I find with some of my older clients, the idea of going down into a pure squat and getting to the ground to pick something up, their knees can't do it, their ankles can't do it, their joints are stiff.
Yeah.
So I lean more to shift your weight. So if you're picking something up, get a staggered stance in the sagittal plane. You're still going down kind of into that squat in that front leg, but it's more like a half kneel. And then when you're coming up, you're actually shifting backward to bring that weight. You're like picking up a child. That works great.
Yeah.
Just to be able to lean and draw that child to you. And a lot of them, that's their main, look, I want to pick up my grandchild.
Exactly.
I want to get down on the floor with my grandchild. I want to do these things. So I tend to encourage, especially in that older adult, rather than just the lift with your legs. They are still using their legs, but a weight shift component, things like, let's say, loading the dishwasher.
Yep.
Right. So make sure your toes are pointing in the direction that you're going. So if I'm getting the dishes from the sink and I'm putting them in the dishwasher, I am not leaving my toes to the sink and going, herniate me every time I go to the dishwasher. Yeah. I'm actually going to turn at least one foot, and then I have them airplane. You know how you would stick a leg to the back?
Yeah.
So which is great exercise, and the spine is stable and the hip is doing it.
And they're counterbalancing.
Yeah, and it's kind of, okay. And you see my clients in their homes, I'm sure it's just funny. Like if you watched me in my home, it's really funny because I'm incorporating all these little things because my spine, I feel it. I was a power lifter for years in college, and I paid. I definitely, my discs are feeling that. I know I have some degenerative disc disease and things like that, but I am not in pain. I can keep myself out of pain by doing the right things, by interjecting extension, by being sure that I don't spend time in flexion. I sit with a lumbar roll. If you saw me on the plane, like Cassie and I coming here on the plane, we had our lumbar rolls strapped around our backs through the airport. So you do what you need to do and you're not embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
And you'll see this. I mean, LeBron James, everywhere he goes, he's carrying a lumbar roll. If you ever see pictures of him getting on a plane, there's a lumbar roll in his hand. So I use that with my clients. I'm like, professional athletes do it too.
LeBron James can do it, you can too.
Exactly. That's what I say. So a lot of that daily life activity and just picking what's good for that person, because maybe the lifting with the legs, like we said, isn't possible. So you're going to do alternate methods, and weight shift seems to work well for me.
Awesome.
Like shifting weight gives them a little more power. Even something simple like vacuuming. I had a woman that she's very much clean about her house, and vacuuming was the thing that would really kill her back. So I had her actually pick up the sweeper at the studio and show me what she does, right? So it was this. It was like undoes in my arm.
All with her arm.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, take a step forward. It's a dance.
Yeah.
Move your body. Here's your She started just putting on music and dancing with the vacuum cleaner. And she found it hilarious.
Yeah.
And her husband comes too, so like he would come in and just talk about her vacuuming. Like this is a whole new scene.
Nice. But talking about changing her whole life.
The pain is gone.
Because that's what she's doing a lot, right? Presumably.
Well, she likes that.
Right.
She likes she said, I love the tracks in the carpet.
Yep.
She's very clean about that, and she wants to be able to do her own house cleaning, and she's 65.
Yeah.
So she's like, I don't want to hire a maid. I want to do that myself. And so just something simple like that an easy fix.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it takes watching that client actually do it so you can see exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I remember I had a client who was a tennis player, older tennis player, had some hip issues. And I was assuming that she was playing tennis pretty well because she competed, she was playing regularly.
Yeah.
So I had to bring in her racket one day, just after I'd been working with her for a couple of months. And I said, well, just, show me a forehand, show me a backhand. And she moved like a butterfly. It's like step, hit.
The legs were
step.
just
Oh
floating.
yeah, and there was no hip flexion,
No triple
and there
extension.
was no. It was like, oh, I see. But until she did that, I was assuming that she was playing
She had the
tennis. The image that I had in my head about a tennis player.
Mhm.
She's been playing for years, and to watch her, it's like, oh, we've got some work to do, right? But it wasn't until I saw her do that I realized, oh, this is what we need to work on. Because I just assumed she was playing tennis like I see people playing tennis, and she was moving quickly, and she had that. Oh no, it was very slow and very careful, and not much movement,
No
and
power.
no power at all. Yeah, so it's just
Well,
like,
and
okay.
aging does that to you too. So
It
maybe at
does.
one point she was
I presume.
doing it well
Yeah.
and lost that power factor,
Yeah.
which really happens, and
Yeah.
then people just kind of change the way they move. And if we can help identify that, and I find it interesting because, I obviously haven't played every sport. I admitted that golf is not a thing for me,
Yeah.
but I have a lot of golfers, and I don't hesitate to tell them that, look, I don't golf, but I know the mechanics that you need to, I can't fix your score,
Right.
but I can keep your back happy while you golf.
Right.
And they're thrilled with that. Like,
Yeah.
they really don't care at this point about their score. They just want to be able to go play 18 holes and not be crippled
Exactly.
when they're done.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's a social thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same with pickleball and tennis. And I don't play those sports, but like you said, just let me see what you're doing.
Right.
That's almost the key. How many times have I taken someone to their car
Mhm.
and watched them get in and out of it?
Yeah,
Mhm,
exactly.
I had one client
That
even
was-
who baked, not joking. Every year, her best friend would come in from the West Coast, and she would bake like 20,000 cookies in 3 days. They would do it for everybody that they knew, and it was their
Flexion.
Oh, plus standing.
incredibly wealthy marble floors.
Oh, good Lord.
And she
Makes my back
always-
hurt just thinking about it.
Yeah, she always complained, and finally,
Ask
I'd never
questions.
gone to the house.
Right.
She invited me over, and I was working with her son too, and I saw the floors, and I went, "Oh, this explains a lot."
Now I know.
I saw how big the kitchen was, and I said, "Oh, okay." So I made her get those soft mats,
Yeah.
and she goes, "But they don't go with the decor." I said, "Oh, it's okay. You hide them,
When
people
company's
come over.
coming. Yes, you use them
Exactly.
when you're baking.
but
Right.
and she goes, "Oh," and she said it decreased it probably by 50 to 60%.
But that's great.
But it was huge.
Yeah.
For her, that was huge because she could take care of herself. And again, who decides to bake for 3 days nonstop and,
And
expect
not,
not
Right.
to
not
hurt?
to feel something.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like gardeners who out of nowhere go into the
It's
garden
spring.
for 3 days.
Yeah,
And then
when
we-
you're doing new
yeah.
activity, you're going to be sore.
Exactly. But watching them, know what their environment is like, know what kind of car they drive. I ask that all the time. If they drive an SUV versus a sports car. Oh, no wonder your back bothers you.
Just the car
Right.
seat
You're
in
an inch and a
general.
half off the ground.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And you have no
And you're in the
And you have no
bucket.
inflection.
And
bucket
you have
seat.
really tight hamstrings, and your legs are like this. Okay.
Exactly.
A little bit of
Exactly.
flexion stress.
So those type of things, it's important for us to understand, because then we can make modifications and we make suggestions that can help them, possibly get in and out of the vehicle better, how to bake better, how to garden better, things like that.
Yeah, just education.
Exactly.
Right? Taking the time to talk to them. And I think in the medical system, there's not a lot of that time.
No.
The time is
These doctors,
unavailable.
they're testing and they're doing the vital things,
Yep.
but there's not that family doctor that's really knowing the person
Yeah,
and able to do that discussion. So you kind of become that for people.
absolutely.
And because we see them regularly, I have clients who've been coming to me twice a week for 17 years.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, as a PT, that's
Uh-huh.
unheard of.
No, yeah, that doesn't
Right? As a
happen.
physical therapist,
That
like
doesn't-
6
no.
weeks, high five, bye bye.
Exactly.
And that's why I do what I do, because I don't like to say bye.
Right.
I want to see how it all turns out.
And you want to see the change.
Yeah, my oldest client, love her to death. She just passed away.
Oh.
She's been a client of mine for over 22 years,
Wow.
95 years old. Her and her husband both came, but just watching her go through the stages of her life
Yeah.
and all the things that she had, and I'd see her come through and I knew her history. Just the day before she passed, she was in hospice. I went to visit, and it was just, it's like becoming part of someone's life.
Absolutely.
And it was rewarding, and I could watch the changes in her and adapt her program for her. And that's, I think, with the exercise program side of it, where we can really help, whether it's the exercise they do with us or something they do on their own. They have to understand that their body is changing, and they can't do what they did when they were 18 over and over and over for the rest of their life, which is kind of what I see sometimes. They're still in the same gym rat mode. They could still go to the gym. It's just now we have to target different things.
Right, and we were talking about this on the way over. So let's go into that a little bit more. So you said, you've got some guys, and I know Brian has a few of these too, who've been doing the same workout that they did when they were 20-year-old football players in college. And they're now 55 or 60 or 70. And it's like, really? Is this a good idea? Do we still need to keep that same routine for many reasons? But let's talk through that a little bit. Like, how do you adapt to those changes as you age, as you grow, as things change for you?
Well, I generally start with showing them an example. So I'll give them a weight, and I'll ask them, especially if they're older, we get into maybe 60 years old, and you can kind of see it in their posture, the loss of muscle mass and the stance and the posture, that sure, they're lifting those weights, but that they're not really doing it with the muscle they intend to use. So I'll give them a heavy weight in their arm, have them stand sideways to the mirror, and just have them do a bicep curl. And it's interesting to watch, because as they get older, the humerus, the top bone of the arm, will move backward when they bicep curl, because they've lost mass of their bicep. So sure, they're still doing curls, and they think they are, but it's doing nothing for them, because really all they're doing is retracting their humerus. They're almost doing kind of a row against no gravity force. So I show them that, and they're like, And then I put their humerus in place and hold it there with my hand, put the same weight in their hand, and they're like, oh.
That's a lot harder.
Right? There may be flexibility components that are inhibiting as well. They're going to feel all of that. So I try to let them feel something like that. I have other little examples if that one doesn't work. Because you got to show them how they're aging.
Well, not just show it, but I always say if they can't feel it, they can't change it.
Exactly. Nor do they want to.
Once you point it out, and they can actually see, either visually or feel, like, oh, that's totally different. That's when they can actually change.
Now they're drinking the Kool-Aid.
Right. Now they're like, oh,
now I'm on board.
Yeah.
I'm good. What do I do next? And I love it when they come in maybe that second visit and they're kind of starving.
Yes.
Like, what are you going to change today?
Yes.
Here's what I do in the gym. They want to write it all down.
Yeah.
Show me how to change all those exercises. And then they're excited.
Well,
and then we're doing Pilates,
new.
and they're also doing something with me, but then they do like to go to the gym too, and I'm good with that. The more activity you can get, the better. Go bike, do something else, but let me tell you how you could make it more biomechanically effective.
Well, and variety too. I mean, you think about any of us who've done roughly the same workout for a million years. Like, the body adapts to it. You stop changing, it just stops doing it for you, right? It becomes maintenance maybe, or it just becomes like kind of doing the same thing. So variety, change, making them think about it again, get that mind-body connection reactivated. All of those are going to make a difference, even if you don't change radically the program.
Yeah. And we use a lot of measures with these people too, to kind of show them, like we'll do their grip strength, because grip strength is a great measure of frailty as you age. And, we've got scales and grids they can look at to see where they are on that. And then we motivate them even more by maybe just the tug test of getting up and walking and coming back. Something simple, a sit to stand test, the 5 times sit to stand. It's amazing what these people can't do that they don't know they can't do. I make them walk the line, and they're like, I can't believe I can't do that. I didn't know I couldn't do that. And they're staggering like a drunk. And then they're motivated. I'm like, in your hallway every day.
Exactly.
And in 2 weeks, they're walking the line again. And they vow to never let it go again. I'm going to do that every week. I'm like, you have to, because age is always kind of working against you. And you've got to now target the things that we know you're going to lose. So we begin to change the workout to target fast twitch fibers of the legs, triple extension, triceps, glutes, those things that we know you're going to lose. It's no longer about you playing football.
Right. It's about you continuing to be able
program
to
you
walk,
did then.
move, sit for the next 20, 30 years.
Yeah, the program you did then was to train you for football.
Right.
I'm going to train you for life.
Yes.
Like you got to now train to literally get out of that chair.
Yep.
Right. And it's unfortunate, but I mean, our bodies, this is my own little theory, you look back to 1920, the average life expectancy for a man in 1920 was 40. The average life expectancy around now, I don't know what exactly it is now, but is 79. So we have stretched the life of this physical body.
Yep. The assumption of how long you've got to keep it going.
It's going to stay alive. But do those knees really handle that? Do the muscles really stay with that?
Do what you want to do up until whenever.
Yeah, I mean, I really only want to stay around that long if I can.
If I can still something.
Move and think.
Yeah,
right. I need both of those things, right? And we have to practice those things. So, I try to encourage them in that way without making it depressing.
Sure.
It can be a positive experience. Just because you didn't measure well on your grip strength today doesn't mean that we can't improve that. And then there's this little motivation and maybe a testing coming up. We're going to retest you in 3 weeks.
We're going to check you out a little bit just to make sure you're doing your stuff.
We're going to see if you actually make a change. And if you don't, maybe if you are doing your activities well, maybe we need to bring in nutrition or we need to bring in some other kind of help for you.
Yeah.
There may be some reason that you're not maintaining when we're trying to give you what you need.
Yeah.
I also find giving them examples in whatever sport, whatever they're interested in, even if they're not, some of them love tennis.
Yeah.
They don't play it, but they love to watch it. Just say, okay, Roger Federer is how old? Do you think he trains today the same way he trained when he was 18?
Right.
No, there's a lot more recovery. There's a lot more massage, nutrition. He travels with all these people for maintenance because it's his job to get on the court. So for him, it's all about recovery, strengthening what he has, and being able to snap back and have that resiliency the next week or the next match, which is important. Tom Brady, any of the older athletes, I try and find out what they're currently doing because it's an easy way for me to say, well, look at even someone like LeBron, who isn't a young guy anymore. And you say, okay, he's training a lot differently than he used to. And he has to because his body has been run like a thoroughbred for so long.
It's breaking down.
It's breaking down a lot faster.
But he still has skill.
But he has skill.
He has skill. So
Absolutely.
he'll be fine if he can keep things operating.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
And we will be fine.
Because he's got this. He's got the tactics. He's got the strategies. He's got the insights. He's got the brilliance. But you got to keep the body able to fulfill that. Yeah,
exactly. Keep it healthy.
Yep.
And it's a great way just to get them to understand your body's changing.
Yeah.
You are getting a little older. Even the greatest people of all time had to modify. So we have to modify yours. So maybe we'll put in a little bit more stretching, a little bit more release work, a little bit more whatever they need.
Yeah.
And add an active recovery and things like that. So they say, oh, okay. And then they can think in their head, well, I'm training just like so-and-so.
Exactly. That's a great way to, that's a great way to do it.
It's a motivator for certain people, not everybody, because not everybody
cares
plays a sport or whatever.
Yeah, and you have to tie it to that person.
Yes.
Just like anything else. There has to be a reason that matches for them. If it's picking up their grandchild, it's all about their grandchild. If it's, what is the thing that you really want? Do you just want to look better? Do you want to stand better?
Right.
Maybe it's appearance. Maybe you want your clothes to fit better.
Whatever
we will wrap it around whatever your motivation is.
Absolutely.
And tie it to that. And it's still the same goals that are still going to help you in the long run.
I had a client who was, her husband was a very well-known attorney in the Bay Area, and they like to travel. They like to do kind of major adventure travel. Like they would go to the Azores and they would go to these funky, weird island places and do all this kind of crazy stuff. And she was rather short. She was under 5 feet and rather round and had arthritis like everywhere. So there's just issues. And her major thing was, this was her goal, I need to be able to get in and out of buses. Right? Because buses are often a pretty tall step. Right? You kind of like that's a huge thing. And so, in her case, for her, it's like, okay, well, we're going to do the chair every time. Standing. Right. Exactly. Just standing first. We just put the pedal down, little standing press down, and we do some little lunges up like every time. And she's like, I hate this. It's like, I know. But just think about that bus. And, you want
to climb that stair.
Right. You want to climb that stair. You need this.
But it worked.
It worked.
Motivated.
Exactly. Right? It got her motivated, so she would do it. And she was like so thankful. She'd go on for 3-week or 6-week vacations because they'd go on these crazy long vacations. She'd come back and said, I got on every single bus.
Reminds me of a client that I have. Her husband sees me regularly. He's super active. He's a roofer. He's over 65, but he's extremely active. And he's on the roof all the time.
Yeah.
At 65.
Yeah.
And he's great. Like when he started Pilates, he sent me a picture of him on the peak of a roof doing airplane.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, please don't do that.
He's got no fear of heights.
Please don't do that. So his wife then started coming, and she's very fit and active too, but she has trouble keeping up with him.
Yeah.
Because he's like a gnat. Like he's just going, man. And her goal when she came in is, I need to train to keep up with him.
Yeah, there you go.
He's dragging me on bike rides.
Yeah.
And he's, I was like, yeah, I know. I'll slow him down.
I'll try.
Speed you up.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, sometimes you're just training to be able to keep up, to do the things you really want to do. And that's okay. And I think that all of us need to do it. If we don't, there's a point where we suddenly just get old.
Yeah.
I had a client say that to me the other day. His wife had COVID and she now has long COVID, and they're older. And so because she's been in this state of long COVID, they were people that would travel, like go do something. They're in their 70s, and, go do something. And he's been tied at home. And he's like, I hope this doesn't make us old. He said that to me. I felt sad. I was like, it's not going to. We're going to get her going.
Right.
We're going to get her there.
Right.
And she's doing better, but it's a scary thing because you can lose that.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you don't stay on it. It really only takes 3 days to lose strength as an older adult. You start to get over 65, 3 days of inactivity, you're already losing a little strength.
Well, they say, for a normal, healthy person, it'll take you, if it's 3 weeks, it'll take you 3 months to get back. Like, so you're in a cast, you're mobilized, right?
Yeah, you had surgery,
yeah.
whatever.
And you get to 65, and
it's faster.
3 weeks can be 8 months, it can be a year, or it can be never.
Yeah. And a loss of a lot.
Exactly. It can be like, and I'm now just at another level, and I'm not actually going to get back to the level I want to be at without serious work.
Yeah. That you don't have the energy for at that age.
That's the thing. I know. Like, how hard do you want me to work?
I was like, really? I'm going to climb that? Oh, really?
Yeah, really? Sure.
Can you give me a shot of energy or something to help me out with the coffee?
Caffeine is not going to be enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's interesting what you were just saying. I think sometimes we have to, as trainers, physical therapists, also remind ourselves about their age, that you've been working with them for a period of time. Okay, so maybe you've been working with them for, like you said, 17 years. I've had some clients for 20 years.
Yeah.
Because their body's aged, their brain hasn't necessarily. They still think they can do what they used to do, but their goals have changed. And I think we have to remind ourselves, what are their goals for today? And adjust with them. So your long COVID person is going to be different today than they were when you were training them before. And sometimes it's hard to reset our own brain because we think, oh, they wanted to get back to this, this, and this. It's like, well, that was before. We have to modify that and rethink ourselves. Okay, here are their new goals and objectives, and try and find what motivations are going to get them to that next level, because everybody is different.
Yeah, and if those goals are still really high, you're never going to be able to say you met it.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing with that long COVID lady is I'm moving those goalposts.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm setting whole new goals.
Yep.
So she doesn't really notice that I move them down.
Yeah.
But I'm setting whole new goals so that, okay, this time you're going to do this many reps, and then we're not going to rest as much this time.
Right.
Like I've been giving her long rest between activities, and, we spend a lot of time talking. Yeah. Which we never did before. Right. And now I'm kind of keeping track of how much do we talk, and the goals have changed that we're going to do 10 exercises instead of 5. Yeah. And then telling her, look what you did today. Yeah. Because the goal has to be smaller, and the step you have to have the goal so they know that they're improving.
Well, that's just it. It can be very demoralizing to never reach your goal.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah.
And then you just lose interest.
You lose interest, and I'll never be able to do it. So
and motivation goes poof.
You just give up.
Right. So sometimes you have to. Yesterday's class, someone said, unrealistic goals. I said, you have to create those to be realistic for that person. And someone also said, well, I say shoot for the moon. I say, it's great if you get there. But if that's your ultimate goal and you never achieve it, that can be very demoralizing for people.
And
Sure.
sometimes their goals are irrational. I had a young girl.
Sometimes.
She came
Yes.
in and she's a young married woman with a young baby. I can't remember how old her baby, maybe 4 or 5. Fairly, likes to work out, thin, but her problem was hypermobility, just not enough muscle mass, right?
Yeah.
And doing yoga and just so sent from the physical therapist to me. So bringing her into Pilates, she's really excited about it. And I, of course, start with, well, what are your goals? She says, well, she pulls up an Instagram and she shows me this person standing on their head.
Okay.
She's like, I want to be able to stand on my head. Now, before she told me the goal, she told me that she was having trouble picking up her baby, trouble working around the house.
Yeah.
Daily life activities were troublesome.
Challenging.
So I took a deep breath
Uh-huh.
and was like, okay, you can't pick up your child, but you want to stand on your head. I said, we've got a big range.
You got a gap here we need to bridge.
And she was
We've got a
great
gap
because I really got to know her and I could just be like,
Yeah, pretty straightforward.
you're being dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally just came out and said, because she's like my daughter's age.
Yeah.
And so it was easy for me to be like, I'm your mom.
Right.
And I'm saying, you're being
This is a
stupid.
stupid.
So she's completely on board now and she has just excelled. And I actually think she's going to become a teacher
Awesome.
because
Yeah.
she's just, she's
absorbed it.
She absorbed it. And,
Yeah.
and now she's in classes and the whole idea of standing on her head is just, she laughs about it.
Brent and I were talking the other day, and I loved what you said, Brandon. We probably said this last podcast, but you're talking about goals and how we set goals for a client. And you said something that I really liked a lot, which is there's the goal that the client says. In this case, stand on your head.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, and sometimes the client has a goal that's just not realistic. Like I had a client who was 26. She just started ice skating 2 years before that, and she thought she was going to be in ice capades. And I'm like, that's probably not going to happen, right? Like that's just probably not going to happen, but whatever. Yeah, just not likely. So you have an unrealistic goal. So then it's like, okay, so that's their goal, and maybe you can talk them out of it, like you did. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes they're like a little focused
and they
on
don't want
that.
to hear that.
No, they don't want to hear that. So there's that, and then the other kind of side of goals. There's 2 other sides. You talked about one. I'll talk about another one. Is what are the goals you think they need to accomplish, right? Like picking up her baby and being able to do her housework.
Yeah,
Okay, those are probably more critical to daily life. And then the third thing is, which is what I really loved, is in what do those goals translate into in terms of what you're going to do in terms of your program, right?
Yeah,
So what are the skills then that I'm going to try to develop so they can do what I think they should do and what they want to do?
Yeah.
Right. So that whole process of there's 3 levels of goal setting in a way.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And making them realistic.
And making them
for sure.
realistic and stepwise.
Well, like you said, if you have that person that really, they don't want to let go of that goal.
Yeah.
One thing I did with this young girl, in addition to me just saying,
Right.
being her mom.
This is not right.
And then after I became her mom, I thought, maybe not good if she's only with me. So I put her with my daughter as
perfect.
a teacher
Perfect.
because they're about the same age.
Yeah.
And I wanted her to see like my daughter as a role model.
Yes.
Not that my daughter's perfect, but that, look, she's fit,
Yeah.
but she's not super skinny.
Yeah.
And she's not standing on her head and
Yeah.
she's happy with, and they hit it off.
Awesome.
Nice.
So like I see the client maybe once every 2 months and she does classes, but then occasionally she sees Cassie. So I think also appropriate to know if you have other people working with you
Yeah.
that maybe
Who's the match?
there might be a good match.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's called personal training for a reason.
Yep.
Yes.
You got to find your person.
Yes.
And I often say that when I start new clients, especially if I'm assigning them to someone else, I'll say, they weren't my client at all. I'll say, look, if you start with that teacher and you feel like it's just not clicking,
Yeah.
come to me,
Mhm.
because all of us are not offended by that at all.
Right.
We actually are so busy that
We're happy to pass
give
them beyond.
a client away.
Yep.
And so they come and they'll say, oh, no, perfect match or not. And I try to think in my mind who would match by
Yeah.
age, by
Yeah.
their skills.
Yeah.
And I think that's, if they can get someone they can relate to, it's a good thing.
Absolutely.
And someone that can actually explain.
In a language that they can understand and they can relate to.
Well, like Cassie looks at Instagram. She showed me that Instagram. I wouldn't even know how to find the picture.
Right.
I
Exactly.
mean, Cassie proceeded to say, no, look at the background of this person.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. She can kind of talk her through the specifics.
Put her on some
of
good
what is happening
Instagram
here.
channels that
Yeah.
gave her things that, like Cassie started her on another channel where they talk about, getting up from the floor without using her hands.
Yeah.
So give her some
Nice.
some
realistic goals.
realistic
Yeah.
functional challenges
Yeah.
to do rather than challenges that made no sense for life.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So she then would come in and be like, well, look, I got this. I can get up without using my hands. And those were good things. And that was Cassie's idea.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
Nice.
I would have never thought of that because
Right.
I don't really play with Instagram.
Exactly. But she was able to, again,
And
capture
bring it to
who she
her.
was, make it relevant to that client, which is what we're always
And
trying
really
to do.
all that client was looking for is some things that would motivate her.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
to
a
change,
challenge.
to work. Yeah.
I find social media interesting when you say that can be motivating, because sometimes we joke about this all the time. We see people post all of the circus tricks in fitness,
Yeah.
and someone will say, I want to do this. And it's like, oh, so would I. I'd love to be able to do that. And that's not happening.
Can you talk to my husband?
When you see it, you're like, dang, okay. No, we're not doing that. But there are some interesting ones that are a little easier,
They're good.
that are
Right.
good,
They're
that are
quality
healthy,
functional things.
Yeah.
safe, effective. And it's like, okay, this I could show someone.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all about getting the eyeballs for the person. So the crazier they can be,
Yeah.
The better for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 BOSUs and a TRX and
it's
balance
just
something
nuts.
on your
It's
head.
nuts.
And
Yeah.
it
It's
goes
nuts.
beyond,
Mhm.
and we see it in the Pilates world where they're doing things that,
It's like, why was that necessary?
yeah,
Right. And occasionally patently unsafe. Like the equipment actually shouldn't be used that way because you're going to break something. If not
Yeah,
yourself.
it's like, think about it. Do you
Yourself
need,
first.
you're kneeling on top of the equipment. Do you need the box
Right.
on top of that and
Exactly.
kneeling on the box?
Exactly.
What's the difference between kneeling on the box and just kneeling on the machine?
Right. Right. Why do you need to be higher?
Why did we add the box?
Exactly.
To make it higher to fall?
Right.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. To make it more precarious.
Yeah, it's kind of a,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poorly thought out.
yeah. So sometimes I have to pull my teachers back and say,
Yeah.
okay, let's think.
Hang
about
on.
it.
Yeah, let's think about this.
When I used to work for AFA, we had these questions that we would ask about every exercise. And it was, like, what's the purpose of the exercise? Is it really doing that?
Mhm.
And then the third question was like, does the risk outweigh the benefit?
Yeah.
Right.
Which is I
100%.
love that.
So I teach those
1, 2, 3,
questions,
man. Yeah.
and then at the end, are you doing that?
Right.
Right. So there's 4 questions.
Yep.
And if you ask that about what you're giving your client,
Yeah.
what was your goal? Is it doing it? Does the risk outweigh the benefit?
Yep.
If you can just answer those things, do I toss this over my shoulder and say never again?
Exactly.
Or this is a good exercise?
Or put on Instagram and say, not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
Like, I am doing this for Instagram because
Yes.
it looks
I want to
good.
get followers.
Right, because it looks good, period. That's why I'm doing this.
Not for every
Not
body.
recommended for the rest of you.
Everybody,
Yeah.
exactly.
For us, I always remind my staff, I say, is there greater than like a 2 to 5% chance that this will cause injury rather than benefit?
Yeah.
And a lot of people say 20%. No. I want down to like less than 5%. Because if there's even that chance, there's a million exercises. Choose something else.
Oh, yeah.
There's
And-
so many things you can do.
There's
Boy, you want to work the
repertoire's
glutes.
endless.
You could name endless things.
Exactly.
If you have to be propped up on something with a strap around your leg and falling off, I could get that with you laying on the floor doing a bridge.
Exactly.
Right, exactly.
Nice and safe.
All 4s, leg lift.
Yep.
Add a little
It's still
ankle
working the
weight.
glutes.
Right.
Yep.
It's not
It
gonna.
doesn't
it's not
have to
gonna
feel
hurt
like
you.
a circus act.
No.
And that
Novelty
may
is
feel
just-
fun to the client once in a great while, as long as it's safe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But if it's not beneficial to any significant degree,
Why bother?
then neurologically they're going to be fighting it the whole time. They're not
Yeah.
really learning anything. They're not getting much benefit from it, except for, yay, I did 1 rep.
Yeah, and they might get hurt.
And
Yeah.
they might get hurt.
And then
That's
we're
the big
set
one.
back by
Yeah.
how many months of
Yeah.
broken bone or whatever
Yeah.
happens, right?
Exactly.
It's no fun.
Exactly. No, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And clients, for the most time, I always say this, clients do not generally get bored as quickly as the instructor does.
Yes.
It's true.
Right? Clients
Uh-huh.
need, again, you can modify something by just adding a little arm choreography or changing the order of things.
Yep.
And they're like, woohoo, or adding a toy. Oh, we're going to put something between your ankles. Oh, it's a whole new exercise. Right? For the most part, they don't get bored.
They don't.
It's
And
the instructor who's getting bored
true. And
mostly.
my longtime clients, they love to do the same.
Yes.
I might change 2 exercises in a
Yes.
repertoire of 12
Exactly.
in a class setting
Exactly.
each time.
That's
Just to
what-
give
that's-
them, here's 2
Yep.
new things
I say
today.
about 80-20.
And then everything else, we're
Mhm.
repeating the same thing so that they can really get it.
Yes.
Mhm.
They can connect their mind to
Yep.
their movement, and then they fine tune it. It's perfect. Then we throw it out.
Exactly.
And we replace it with something new.
Exactly. But you have to give enough repetition for them to actually learn it, because the body I would say the brain learns quick, the body learns slow. You got to give it the chance to actually make the change and figure the thing out. Then you can let it go.
Well, this is a constant thing with me and teachers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's constant. We have meetings, and it's just like, guys,
I've said this
quit
before.
changing it so much. Like,
Yeah.
stick to some of the basics in every class.
Yeah.
Give them the basic movement,
Mhm.
and don't fuss with fancy stuff so much.
Mhm.
It's not that important.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a few instructors that they're bored.
Yeah.
Right?
They're bored. Yeah,
They're
it's
the
not
ones.
about the clients.
Well, when you've seen 8 clients today and every one of them has done a row.
Yeah.
By the 5th or 6th person, I'm bored with the row. The person in front of me hasn't done it yet. I'm the one
Right,
that's
and they
bored.
might have done it for a week and a half.
And they may have done it for a week or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
So for them, it's the most beneficial exercise we can be doing at the moment for whatever they need.
Right.
But my brain is like,
It's like,
I
oh,
gotta
are
do
we
this
doing
again.
this again? I'm going to say those same cues again.
Exactly, but no,
You know, but this is your job.
it's
This is
my
what
job
you do, and
That's
you're
your
good at it.
job.
and it's the person in front of me.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
what
Different
they
cues.
do.
That's what's important.
Yes.
It's not you, it's them.
It's them.
That
Yeah.
boredom can really get you in trouble. I was
Yes.
an instructor that comes to me a lot with new ideas, right? So we do this trampoline class,
Yeah.
and her new idea was to wrap a TheraBand around the knees while jumping on the trampoline,
Oh, Lord.
because that'll work the legs more. And
Oh,
I'm thinking,
Lord.
well, what happens when you accidentally come to
What
the edge of the
happens if you
trampoline?
do
You need to step off.
anything.
You can't.
You can't, because you're
gonna
tied in your
fall
legs. You're
all the
falling
way
right on your
down
face.
off the trampoline.
So
Here's a pair of
I
handcuffs. Do it with this.
I had to set a rule at the studio that
Yeah.
if you're on the core
Talk
line,
about risk reward.
you don't use things in your hands because you've got the ladder.
Right.
Like the core line is meant you do arm work with your hands on the
Yeah.
pedals.
Yeah.
On the trampoline, you don't hook a TRX up, put your hands on the trampoline, your feet in the TRX.
Right.
It's not.
It's just
This
there's no
one
need for
particular
this.
instructor
There
just
is no
keeps
need for
creating
this.
these crazy things.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, how did that change the benefit?
Right.
So I've actually had to set these rules that certain things on
You
certain
cannot combine
equipment
these two
cannot
things.
be combined.
Yeah.
Like you don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
And
but the rationale, I'm like, what is the benefit of that?
which
And
is
they can't even explain.
No.
It's fun.
why exactly.
It's fun. Well, we are here to have a little bit of fun, but not at the risk of someone getting hurt.
No.
So yeah, it can be crazy when they start to get bored.
Mhm.
It's really bad.
I keep wanting to put under a lot of those, like, if you just tell me why, like, why or what's the purpose? Like, I just want to answer. And I like your risk reward. Like, does this meet a risk reward appropriate balance here?
Yep.
Oh,
And I've told Nora this. We have why days. I call them why days, where I'll walk behind one of my staff and I'll just say why and walk away. And they have to come to me and tell me why they were doing that exercise with
That's
that
great.
client.
At that
Give
time.
me a purpose at that time. Because if you don't have a why behind the exercise, you're wasting your time, their time, and their money.
You know what we call that in our studio? Meaningless movement.
Yes,
I love
yeah, I love it.
Meaningless. And
I
a lot of
love
times
that.
we'll be like, Cassie and I'll be watching something on Instagram or something.
Yeah.
We're like, she'll look at me and I'll look at her like, meaningless movement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Why?
Yeah.
It's burning calories.
Yeah.
That's about all it's
Yep,
doing.
yep.
Exactly.
It has to have a
Purpose.
reason, a purpose for that client.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, maybe it's a coordination thing, so that would be okay if that client needed
There's
coordination.
lots of
but
reasons to get crazy if that's what they. I mean, if they need
That's what
complicated
they
motor
need.
control for
That's
some
what they
reason,
need.
fantastic.
Exactly.
Yep.
But that's why. And again, there's lots of whys. They can
Mhm.
answer that many ways.
Yeah.
But that why has to have an answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just chuckle when we see it. It's
Yeah.
it's kind of a laugh because it's like, wait, what are you thinking?
Uh-huh. Exactly.
The inside jokes.
Yep. Exactly.
You have to have them. It helps you get through it.
Yep. Exactly.
He's kind of looking at you to go, MM.
Yep. Nice. Nice. Well, I want to thank you for coming and
Yeah.
talking with us today, explaining a little bit about your background, but more about your philosophy. And I think that's what we got a lot out of this is your train of thought, how you train your people, and not only your staff, but the people in front of you. And I love finding out how people do this in their setting, because then I can take some of that and apply it to my studio in DC, and we can do that. And everybody who's watching and listening can do the exact same thing, which is fantastic.
Right. I mean, a lot of us started from scratch and had people that we mentored with.
Correct.
And
Absolutely.
that way we don't have to start like at that scratch place. You can
Yes.
get a little ahead and then add to that and
Yeah.
share it.
That's the idea.
The idea is
Absolutely.
if we all come together and kind of share the tips,
Yep.
can avoid the mistakes that I've done in my
That I've
history.
done in my history, that we've all done.
We've all done it. I mean, we talk about meaningless movement and stuff like that. I'm guilty too.
Oh,
Absolutely.
we all are.
I am not saying that from a place of being perfect,
Yeah,
but
No.
also a place of saying, I did that. I realize that's not.
exactly. That's not
It
the most
didn't
beneficial
get me
thing
where I
can do at
wanted
the
to
moment.
be. I now know a better way, and let me share that.
Exactly.
So thank you.
Anything that you want to promote? Any social media
So
things?
we
you want to
actually
do?
just started a app,
Yes.
and it's
Oh,
a
cool.
Apple Android app, and it's free. It's called PHI Pilates Connect. So you can join that, and in there's a teacher training community, and it's mainly like for Pilates instructors, but we also post research. And so even if you're just a fitness trainer, maybe interested in some Pilates, you may want to go in there and check
Awesome.
that out. And we
Yeah.
also have a community feed. So it's a little bit like a Facebook feed, each feed, one's for teachers and one's for community. So even
Nice.
if you're just an exerciser, you can get into the community. We do some lives, we do some workouts. There are things to purchase in the app. We have workouts on-demand workouts and things like that you can purchase, continuing education, but everything else is free. And we just wanted to build a community where
Nice.
we can all share ideas, and
Awesome.
so
Fantastic.
that's our new thing.
Awesome. I love it.
Nice.
I love
Excellent.
it.
Excellent. Thank you very much. You guys know our social medias, Moving Conversations on Facebook, at Moving Combos on Instagram. If you want to reach out to us, give us a suggestion or a question, you can hit us up at movingcombos@gmail.com. And I, again, want to thank Chrissy for coming today. And for Nora St. John, I'm Brian Ritchie. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.